Hey guys, StoHD here, and I am back with another reaction video, and today, I'm gonna react to Thomas the Tank Engine, Shed 17 by Paul's Vids. And yes, this is the second video I uploaded today. Well, that recent reaction video, you know, my reaction to Pick a Boy Moves In by Angry Grandpa, I didn't record that today. I recorded it like 2 days ago, which is Tuesday. Or Monday. Sorry about that, guys. And yes, the reason why there was no videos yesterday is because I had a sleepover with my friends, and we had to get up really early for something very, very important, and it lasted like 8 hours during that time. So yeah, I'm finally alone, and my friends aren't here. It only lasted a day, the sleepover. So yeah. But anyways, let's get this started. Oh, hold on, let me check the volume. Okay, starting in 3, 2, 1, go. I hear trains. Paul's Vids. I recently heard this is a creepypasta video. Oh, okay. Sodor Island. And yes, I do remember the show. 1982. Isn't that how Thomas the Tank Engine started? And now they're playing the theme song. But in a creepy way. Oh! Sodor Island, present day. The windmill is destroyed? Who knocked it down? Wait, what? Oh boy. Whew. It's present day and it's raining. How terrible is that? Yep. Old school Thomas was pretty popular back in the day. Wait, is that Gordon? What happened to him?
They were the stories that have charmed an entire generation. From the books to the television series, people around the world have grown up with the railway stories, and all
pretty
their
much
cheerful characters. But the truth behind Thomas and his friends was no children's fantasy. The truth would be horrifying.
Shed 17. This is the title of the video. Oh god, this is not going to be good.
It is 1945, and the remote island of Sodor, off the northwest coast of England, has emerged from the fog of World War II, relatively unscathed and untouched.
The island served as a detention camp for Germans living in England.
Keith
That's how
Hartley?
the professor came to be here.
Professor Wilhelm Goethe was born in 1903 in Munich, Germany.
1903,
In
huh?
biology, he became a prominent advisor to the ruling party in the 30s.
Wenn die älteren Jahrgänge noch wanken werden könnten, die Jugend ist uns verschrieben und verfallen mit Leibesgeschehen.
In 1939,
That
as
is
the war
so
escalated,
not
he,
what Thomas is
wife
about.
Olga, and 4-year-old son Hans fled the country.
Wait, wasn't that so top of hat?
Tja, ich habe nie einen solchen Befehl bekommen. Er hat einmal gefragt, nicht wahr? Am 14. Mai 1942 war der Großadmiral Räder und ich bei ihm.
I do not understand what this guy is saying.
The fact is, his experiments were hard to stomach even for his own people.
In truth, he had become a prominent figure in the government, but as his work progressed, questions and objections
Seriously?
had
He
been
met up with
raised
the
in
Nazi?
higher echelons of the Reich.
His work with genetics and DNA was
Dr.
truly
Owen
pioneering.
Ruth.
The cracking and manipulating of the human genome. What Professor Goetze was most successful in, however, was keeping his history a secret until his death.
In an attempt to gain favour among the German hierarchy, Wilhelm Goetze was at the forefront of the government's most fanatical policies. In 1938, he was influential in instigating the infamous Sajmelnacht, the Night of Sawdust. But, as his experiments advanced, he became a much less popular figure and soon feared for his and his family's lives.
As soon as he escaped to England, he was banged up here. But the locals were nice to him. There was no hostility, and many of them chose to live here after the war.
Following their release, Professor Goetze, Olga, and young Hans chose to remain. After studying under his father, Hans left at the age of 18 and went to university on the mainland, studying biology and engineering, writing several pioneering papers about genetics and the splicing of DNA with mechanical implants.
He called it biofusion, the technique of manipulating genetic material to splice with mechanical attachments. However, much like his father, the British government became more and more concerned with Hans Goetze's proposals. So he was forced to seek financial backing from home.
His dad left Germany with quite a few bob, so Hans came back. He saw our little island as some sort of refuge where he could work in peace. Soon every nutcase and eccentric was coming over.
By 1962, Hans had set up Sodor Research, a small lab near the town of Alsborough, but soon the enterprise began supplying medical equipment and machinery, and quickly grew to become a large complex, comprising its own links to the growing Sodor rail system.
Young Abby Collins from the town was working there, when Professor Hans took a liking to her. Soon they were married, and not long after, the town was buzzing with news of her pregnancy.
Baby Thomas was born in 1968. Throughout the early years of his life, he would watch the growing railway network with fascination.
I think that's your Topham hat.
He couldn't get enough of trains. His dad bought him one of the first video cameras.
He'd
be on the platforms every day. You can see me in some of those tapes.
Hi, Mr.
Okay,
Morning, Thomas. But he was friends with him.
Thomas?
Even that simple bloke who could only say where he lived.
Is that how Thomas was born?
But his favourite trains were the old steam engines.
Steam engines were a dying art on the British mainland, but Hans also had a fondness for them, much like his son, and likes to keep them running for our purposes, taking orders from the labs to the growing docks, or to the mainland to be transferred to modern postal express trains.
But as the Sodor rail system expanded, it found itself increasingly under the supervision of the new British rail network and appointed a new controller.
Oi! Get off my f***ing platform!
So Topham hat!
Born into money, he took his ridiculous name to heart and started wearing a top hat all the time. Of course, Vids had a different name for him.
Fat bastard. You've never met such a cold-hearted as him. He banned all steam engine volunteers.
Well, it is censored, so you don't hear cursing in this.
Shut down the branch line and the smaller
Topham
stations.
hat.
He was happy to let the
railway controller.
Just like they did to main line.
Well, that's how his character was made in the show.
They were about to take a profitable turn, a stroke of luck for the island that would result from tragedy.
Wait.
Come on, we're gonna be late. What's the time? Thomas, get moving.
Young Thomas loved
Thomas was a person at first?
All the time, hoping to catch a new train on his camera.
11:45's coming through.
So, before Thomas the Tank Engine was made, he was a person at first.
He didn't take as much notice of the safety signs.
I'm not being late again. Have we missed it yet? Wait for the 11:45. Never mind the 11:45. It must be late again. Thomas, come on. It's always held up.
Hans was mortified. He disappeared from public view.
He was run over by a train?
Locking himself in, he wouldn't allow anyone in there. Eventually his father Wilhelm came to see him.
In a few days, a major laboratory
that was so dark.
Followed by an engine maintenance shed, which was to become off limits to all.
All production was shut down, orders weren't met, but the two Professor Goetzes didn't care. More and more equipment was being delivered daily, but no one was allowed in Shed 17.
Questions started being asked on Sodor.
How come no one was allowed there?
Would there be no funeral for young Thomas? And where was the body?
They'd arranged for Thomas to be transferred to a
Well, did you see his arm? His arm was off. That train, like, literally split his body.
Well, assume the obvious. He was still in lab.
But if Thomas was there, was he still alive? And what was the purpose of keeping him at the complex? Almost a year after the accident, the doors of Sodor Research were reopened. In an open invitation to the people of the island,
Putting his body in a train?
Shed 17.
It took me a moment to realise what it was I was looking at. When he looked at me and said,
Hiya, Mr. Hartley.
it dawned on me what Hans Goetzer and his dad had done. One woman passed out as Thomas smiled at us.
That's supposed to be Thomas's mom?
Round the side of the shed.
Hey, are you alright, Keith?
Ugh.
Spread across the country, the world's media rushed to Sodor
I-
Island.
You know, I never knew that Thomas was an actual person before he was made into a train.
I'm a bit of a celebrity.
Controversy on Sodor Island.
What else did they do? Did they put other dead bodies in trains?
It's fair to say I was pretty nervous at times,
Joined now by Keith Hartley.
but I think I put on a brave face.
Live from Sodor
When
Island.
you first came to meet Thomas
Okay.
the Tank Engine.
Ugh. That was nasty.
Most of my mates said I looked pretty good on telly. The mayor said I'd represented
Sodor
the
experiment.
people of Sodor very well. It's important to show
Kindness
your
or
confidence
cruelty?
when people are asking you awkward questions.
Weekend round.
Good evening. An act of mercy or a crime against humanity. I am joined now by...
Even when some of the questions got difficult, I made sure I knew what I was
don't believe
talking
this.
about.
What was your reaction when you first met a talking tank engine?
This again?
Make an informed opinion, or if you can't string together two words on telly.
Yeah, I would have the same reaction if they put a dead body in a train.
Admittedly, the subject matter was a bit bizarre sometimes.
There are some dark forces at work here.
Oh god, will you please stop doing that?
They're laughing at you. They're not laughing with you.
Oh, can you stop?
The Goetzer family refused
Please.
to answer any questions. Behind closed doors, the
That
only
is just
question they
nasty.
agreed to answer had been asked repeatedly. Would Thomas work on the railway? The response was an emphatic no.
Thomas's DNA had been reprogrammed to accept and adapt to the engine structure, using the engine's internal system to maintain his organic functions. What no one could be sure of was how much of the engine was mechanical and how much was organic material.
Thomas had been able to move around without coaching, but to work
That
on
face.
the railway, his engine would need to be fired up and operated by a driver.
Oh yeah, the coal.
Since no one could be sure how much of the engine was Thomas, the pressure caused by the engine could rupture his organs from the inside,
Oh?
and the incredible heat could boil him alive.
Good lord.
Hans and his father vowed Thomas would never work on the railways.
Similarly, the two
Sodor
professors were to
Research.
review many requests by people from around the world
Dear Dr.
who
Branson,
wished to be biofused
yours sincerely,
into
Professor Owen Ruth.
Billionaires offering to pay whatever they
Okay.
wanted to be converted into an engine or some other transport. Train enthusiasts too, and people with terminal illnesses were desperate
Dear
to
Mr.
be
Starr,
made into
Mr. Walden,
trains.
Mr. Hughes, Mr.
For some
Ball.
reason, the Goetzers
Mr. T?
refused.
But there would be other interested parties, eager to seize on the
Sir Top
biofusion
Hat.
gold mine. The independently wealthy
What are you
Thomas
doing with yourself?
staged a hostile takeover, and within weeks had bought a controlling
You know,
share in Sodor Research.
When I just started this video, I was
Policy
expecting
of the company changed,
for just Thomas
and so
the Tank
did
Engine
ethics.
to be like
The
an
medical
actual
supply
creepypasta
line was
movie.
shut down, and work began on mass biofusion experiments and operations.
Instead, this is a story.
Anyone who could afford it, some handing over their whole fortunes, were turned into engines.
But along with the new policy, there would be worse to come. Biofused engines would be allowed, then obliged, to work on the railways.
The first one we fired up was James. He didn't have the money some of these people
Oh,
had, so
James!
he basically sign his life away if they
Sorry
wanted
about
to
that, guys.
experiment
I'm just
further,
tired.
Or to take massive risks like this. As usual, the fat had everything recorded.
Really?
All kept classified, you understand.
These
Oh,
recordings,
what's wrong with
shown for
James?
the first time, reveal the extent of Sir Topham Hatt's experiments.
It was horrible watching these engines work on the railways some days. But the tourists wanted to see it. They expected it. And for me, it was work.
But with the new engine's increasing work schedule came more and more accidents.
More accidents?
To have problems. He'd been filming all day for the new TV series they'd announced, and for his last scene,
TV series deleted
to
footage.
Wellsworth Station,
Heh,
and
I worked.
whistled to the kids on the platform.
Whistled Edward. Thank you very much.
Oh! Oh God!
Sadly, this was only the first in an increasing number of incidents.
Harold had
What
an
the
obsession
hell?
with aircraft and appeared to become a helicopter. The
That was
operation had
gnarly.
but we had to ban him from being allowed to attend
James just
the
like,
flight.
or just like squirted blood
Now,
all over those
the
children.
diesel engine was to be the
Wait,
first
Mavis?
biofuel locomotive used on the railway.
We fueled her up and
What?
everything seemed fine.
They made her with oil. Oh God! Oh,
Diesel began to burn her internal organs. Everything organic in the engine.
trains don't have organs. Oh,
Have you ever
Mavis is on fire.
active scream in pain?
Oh,
We tried rinsing out the fuel tank with water, but by then it was too late.
dude! Oh,
His body
oh
was
God, Mavis!
Indefinitely. In an
What
unexpected
the
U-turn,
hell?
Sir Topham Hatt would ban fueled engines from being used on the island.
This is just
He was
awful.
never told why he couldn't fly, but the decision would keep him
Oh,
alive.
God.
If only for a little
Please
while
don't
longer.
let anything
In
happen to
fact,
Harold.
unknown to the outside world, there'd
And
been
don't let
many
anything happen to
failed
Rosie,
fusion
Emily,
experiments.
Percy,
Fat bastard kept the accident
or
a secret, and legal disclaimers had to be signed by anyone being biofused. So there'd be no legal action taken if anything went wrong.
This footage shows
Oh,
engines
okay.
being displayed to
Now they're playing the
tourists
theme
during
song.
the off-season. Many of these engines were failed biofusion experiments and were too ill to work.
Aha,
or
Birdie,
already dead.
They had to put a stop to that though.
Percy, and oh,
With all accidents
Percy!
happening, everyone started asking the same thing.
his face just snapped off.
First
What
engine
the heck?
worked so well.
Despite all the troubles the other engines had, Thomas had worked fine, seemingly oblivious to the other engines.
Dude, I'm a little nervous, guys.
Accidents.
Keeping their problems a secret from the outside world, Sodor Research began selling the technology to other countries in multi-million-pound deals. These countries would have less qualms about the use of fuel engines, and even the modern electric trains. Even failed biofused engines were being displayed publicly in what would
Wait,
become a
wait, I
kind
think I
of
know that
freak
game.
show. To his horror, Professor Hans
Mighty Mac?
Goetze saw what this was leading to: slavery of engines, and immediately resigned.
Dude, I definitely gotta have to look back on the show because I completely forgot these trains' names. Oh, and who is this? Oh wait, is this an actual movie now? Hope so. Oh, he's the guy who met the Nazi. I forgot his name. No way. He has a gun? Oh, he's gonna kill himself? Don't kill yourself. Oh!
Professor Wilhelm couldn't come to terms with what was happening to his engines, and took the only course he thought he could take.
And now his head is on fire?
Those rail staff over to his house to clean up after the body was taken away.
What is wrong with these animators?
Everywhere. It took us days.
But such attempts to keep the incidents on Sodor a secret were short-lived, after a very public accident.
Gordon paid an enormous amount.
So how long is this?
First 462
like 36 minutes?
Engine, much bigger
Gordon?
than the other engine at the time. We were terrified that fat
Sir Topham Hatt
was fire up that huge engine.
We were shocked to discover he had insisted on being able to work on the railway. So, one night, after the regular staff
Oh God,
had
please.
finished for the day,
Please don't let
some of the
nothing
rail staff
gross
and I
happen.
fired
Please.
up the engine.
As usual, these experiments were filmed. This
What is
footage
that?
has never been broadcast before.
What is he doing?
Dr. Ruth and I filmed it all.
It might be a bit
Oh, that was a
shaky.
camera?
It was handheld. At first,
Oh God.
Gordon complained
Gordon?
about the heat. Then that
Gordon!
pleased to douse the fire.
But that fat bastard held us back. He wanted
Sir
to
Topham
see
Hatt, what are you doing to Gordon?
He argued he had put a lot of work into Gordon, and the
Gordon!
chances to get him working were too great an opportunity. He was
Sir Topham Hatt, what have you done? Oh God!
When we were allowed to act, it was too late.
Oh God! Whoa! Oh!
I wasn't as near to
Gordon!
them. All I could do was run. I was lucky to get away with some singed clothes. Others weren't.
His
so
engine was like
The fateful few
starting to
hours
like
following the accident would
crack
seal the
and
fate of
break
Sodor
and then
research.
explosions!
Stopped us trying to put out the fire, insisting that any evidence would fall back on us.
He kept repeating, "This was all your fault. You knew the
And then just like
dangers. Your
blew
leadership
up the
was
eyes of him, like
He
totally
started
messed up,
calling
like
for ambulance
totally
and all
bucked
fire
up.
brigade.
We told him, these are injured people here. They're going to die unless we do something. But he kept saying, no one from the outside can come in. No one can see this.
Finally, someone...
Seriously, what am I watching right now?
Harold was banned from flying for his own
Don't let
safety,
anything happen to Harold.
but we thought the risk was worth it.
Don't do nothing worse to Harold.
Experience.
I warn you.
Would he have the same reaction, maybe?
No, not Mavis.
We all
Please don't do it.
relief and loaded the
Please,
injured
please don't
people
show that
aboard.
thing about Mavis.
Wrong.
Don't break! Don't break! Oh God! No, Harold! Oh! Oh!
Harold's engine had worked fine, but what no one realized...
You guys are ruining my childhood right now.
Lower extremities were permanently fused to his propeller system.
As Harold's rotor blades began to spin, vital organs would be drawn into the motor and tear him apart from the inside.
Well, now there was no covering it up. The smoke could be seen all morning, but news people were here in an instant. We were told to close gates and start clearing up the mess ourselves, with some help.
Henry Thierry was the only
Henry.
420 gauge engine on the island. A large engine that had been working on the railway.
Yeah, he is a
regularly.
good
He
engine.
had become popular among tourists and
But
the
something might,
Henry was called into
something
the yard
might
to
bad
help
happen.
tidy the mess. Working mostly at night, he would cart away the wreckage under cover of darkness.
We had to work quickly and quietly. Henry would cart wreckage from the yard away to the sea. Then one night the points were set wrong and we were diverted to another shed.
Wait, what?
Henry had inadvertently
Shed
been
17.
sent to shed number 17, where Thomas had been biofused into a tank engine.
Reconstruction?
and had subsequently
Reconstruction?
declared out of bounds.
It was dark and these sheds all looked the same. I unlocked the doors and Henry rolled in. I didn't see what Henry
Oh,
saw, because as
Oh,
soon as
God.
he put his head through
Oh, God.
doors, he bolted and reversed out.
Keys
Yeah, I
left
would
the shed
get
up
the heck
without
out of
seeing
there.
What was inside. But Henry had seen it all.
We wouldn't even dare talk about that shed, more than our job's worth.
But Henry had decided to speak up and confront Sir Topham Hatt. That night, he arrived at the railway controller's
Oh
office.
God.
I don't know what was said in there.
Oh,
There were raised
okay.
voices at
Oh.
times. They had a shouting match for
That is Sir
10
Topham
minutes.
Hatt's
Then Henry
office?
left, back to the shed.
By pure chance, he was sent
How
back
could
to the
Henry get
station
in
as
there?
promised that night, and with one sentence, he sealed both their fates.
Henry only said one thing to
And there's Thomas right
stay
there.
away from Shed 17. The next day, the fat had a new job for him.
World in action.
The Flying Kipper route runs through the night.
World in
delivering
action.
fresh
Flying Killer,
frozen dogs to the
1983. What?
mainland,
Oh.
across the highest altitude line in the country.
That old line was treacherous at best, but when Henry was put on there, in the middle of winter, it was a death trap.
A death trap?
In 1970, fish had
Oh, God.
started being delivered by road to the mainland. It was safer and more cost-effective, and the line was declared redundant. Dangerous and unnecessary, it came as a shock to the islanders when it was reopened.
That fat shite always hated Henry. He didn't like his cheerful manner, and he clearly had other lifestyle choices when he was a human. Fat wanted Henry away from the other engines.
Wait, Henry was also a human?
Sentence.
On the night of February the 8th, 1983, Henry had only been on the Kipper run for a week. The following incidents would be made into
The
a
Flying
book
Kipper and
later
Henry.
recreated
Oh,
in
oh,
television series.
This is the train the railwaymen call the Flying Kipper.
Can you believe they put it in a kid's story? Of course, that fat f***er changed quite a few of the facts.
They couldn't know the points
But-
from the main line to a siding were frozen, and the home signal should have been set
this
as
doesn't look good.
danger, but snow had forced it down.
As the train approached the most treacherous part of the line, unnoticed to Henry,
Well-
his driver and
well, he
fireman,
pretty much slipped,
the
that's
points
it.
diverted them to the adjoining siding, and right into the path of another
Oh, no.
train.
No! No! Whoa! No way!
Henry's driver and fireman had jumped clear before the crash.
In fact, Al and Barry died from their injuries. Slowly, in snow, the poor bastards.
Oh,
By
God.
midday, the recovery operation was underway, and Sir Topham Hatt had arrived.
Cheer up, Henry, it wasn't your fault. Ice and snow caused the accident.
Well, pretty much.
Images from a train spotter's
Even if
camera
snow could
taken
kill
years
him.
before, and was successfully covered up by the Sodor Railway Board for 10 years.
God.
There was a railway spike in points, blocking them. Of course, that had disappeared by the time we got there.
I'm sending you to Crewe, a fine place for sick engines.
Crew?
We all knew what that meant.
They'll give you a new shape and a larger firebox.
Crewe was, at the time, one of only 2 scrap metal yards in the UK capable of handling and recycling organic material as well as engine parts.
You'll feel a different engine and won't need special coal anymore.
Special
Those
coal?
few words, he'd sentence Henry to death.
Won't that be nice?
What makes
Yes,
coal
sir,
special?
said Henry doubtfully.
Everyone knew he wouldn't see him again. And everything was sewn up nice and neat for that fat
Oh! 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 Oh, jeez!
As news got out about Henry's accident, it didn't take long for Thomas to
What were they
realise
doing to Henry?
He had been disposed of because of what he knew.
The next evening, Thomas had been put on his own for the night at Knapford
Thomas?
Station. As his driver and fireman left, under what was left of his own steam, he set off for the Sodor Research Complex.
Oh, be careful out there, Thomas.
Burning fuel in his firebox, but he was mostly moving under his own strength. It took Thomas 3 hours to get to the complex, the effort to get there nearly killing him.
Thomas arrived at midnight, with no one around.
He arrived at
Way to
midnight?
the shed where he was created. What he found was the answers to his questions, and many others.
Since Sodor Research had become producing biofuels vehicles,
What is Thomas gonna do? Sacrifice himself?
The first biofusion operation worked so well, but nearly every operation since had failed. Sadly, Thomas found the reasons inside.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Thomas had never
That
been the
is
first
so
person. He hadn't even been
creepy.
second.
What shed number 17 contained
Dude,
was
this is like
evidence of
this is like
several
Five Nights
attempts
at
to create a
Thomas.
tank engine with Thomas's DNA. These had
His
been early
DNA?
tests made by people with no experience of an experiment on this scale.
That is
And
no.
unprepared, these
No!
experiments had used DNA from the human Thomas and had been as much the real Thomas as the tank engine the world had come to know and love.
God.
To us, Thomas the Tank Engine had been the
No.
Thomas we all knew as a boy.
This
Part of
animation
the
does
family the
look
whole
good.
world's population had known and respected.
But sooner or later,
Since Wilhelm
the end of the
first
video
arrived.
might get
In
gruesome.
actuality, this tank engine was no more the real Thomas than all the failed creations
What?
made over the 12 months before. This Thomas had all the
Thomas was creating a power source like that?
experiences. He had learned what Thomas had learned, known who Thomas had known, but so had all the previous failures.
Please.
Wilhelm and Hans Goetze
Is he-
had to learn
is he-
through
is Thomas
trial
gonna
and
go in
error
that
how
thing?
to bring their Thomas back from the dead. The following experiments had not
No,
had the same work
not
put into
those
them,
accidents with those
resulting in the freak
engines.
engines and aircraft that had developed so many problems on Sodor
Percy.
Island and around the world.
I liked Percy.
Shed 17. Thomas wouldn't discover who he was, but in fact, who he wasn't.
No. No, oh God. Please. Oh! 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 What is that? What is that? Oh! 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 What the hell? Is he? Are they raising his whole body from the dead? They were playing the Slindy Tubby Scream!
He had no idea he was only one of many clones. None of us did. But I guess as time passed, we stopped asking all the questions we had.
That is awful! Oh my God!
Just glad our friend was back with us.
Make it stop!
He could work for us. He became our servant in a way. Someone who drew in the crowds. Helped create jobs.
Make it stop!
Was
Make it
his
stop!
work. Thomas
Oh
always
my
thought
God!
of his friends. Sadly, over time we came to think of him as just really useful.
今日會有一批水果同蔬菜抵達碼頭嘅。我要你將食物送去納卜澤，繼續做你自己日常嘅工作啦。
Next week, Cockleshell Bay. In the aftermath of the Mr. Ship inquiry, we ask, how much did ITV know? And where next for Robin and Rosie
fucking Warren shithead
of Cockleshell Bay.
What the hell? Are you serious? Are you serious, dude? This story, the whole story, I swear, the show, I loved it, but now, I'm scarred. Totally scarred for life. I kept finding a lot of videos for me to react to, but now, this happened and ruined my day. Scarred me for life. Ruined my childhood. I don't know if I ever look at Thomas, nor the rest of the characters of the show ever again. I don't know if it's the same. But you know what? It's just a show. But this video creeps me out. That's why it's called Shed 17. Thomas finds out who he really is. And then his body, like, rips apart. You know what? That's it. That's it, guys. I'm done. Once again, guys, thanks for watching, and ahoy! Wow!